How's it going? I'm very, very dark because, well, I haven't set up properly. Hang on. Let me do this intro like so. Ah, this works adequately. Looks like I'm filming myself, but I'm not. I mean, I am obviously, but cool. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? I think the lighting should change in a bit. It's just that my background these days is black. Just because I keep my computer running overnight for various personal reasons. I'm gonna be playing some Last Epoch tonight. Um, as you'll find with with this game, rather than like Republic Commando, it's a little less involved, so I can loosen up and like actually have like more of a chat going on, which is the sort of thing that I want to do. There's a couple of things kind of weighing on my head a little bit. Not heavily, like nothing serious. It's just stuff that I'd like to talk about. Stuff that I really didn't quite touch on with Lucky Dutch, and I feel like I'd rather convert into musings. So with that said, I'll start up the game. It will be a little bit of fiddling around, seeing as I haven't really started the game up just. Well, I want to have it a little bit lower in the mix, so I don't want to um you know I don't want to have it the sound overwhelming. So I'll start it up now. We'll see how it goes. Um, is the light a little bit better? It's not great. It's really very not great. Should I just leave my phone like this? Will that do it? No, there's a massive mic in the way. I guess it doesn't really matter. Um, let's turn off this light. Oh, great. This is a great start. Well, so far for that idea. Let's try this again. And this time I won't like interrupt anything. I'll just leave it to start up. I won't touch anything. Anyway, the main reason why I'm streaming now as well is because my schedule is getting a little bit more hectic. And I can't honestly predict when I'm gonna have another opportunity to stream again. So I kind of want to just have like a night session. Also, for all intents and purposes, it's a bit of an experiment as well. It's 20 to 11 British summertime right now. Um, last time I streamed around that time, which was the last episode of Republic Commando, honestly, it did relatively well compared to the other ones in terms of like actual playbacks and stuff like that. Uh, obviously, disregarding, um, in the morning when I played um Minecraft with Lucky Dutch. So there we go. Um, that's a bit laggy, but nothing too bad. But I'm playing with gamepad. I'm leaning back. I'm a little bit more lax with everything. Is the light actually okay right now? Can't tell. Genuinely can't tell. Um. Anyways, let's enter the game and see how well this performs. My character is called Mike Hawk. That's Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. Oh, look at him jitter. That's how it's recorded as well. Okay, well, this is proving to be awful. Where am I meant to go again? How do I bring up the menu again? Or the map? No. There we go, map. So just for the sake of explaining this game to most of you, because you probably don't know about this game all that well, this is a Diablo type game. A friend of mine wanted to play this because at some point, like, there's gonna be multiplayer to it, and we want to play together. For now, it's only single player. I don't know where we are with or where the developers are with that. But I figured, it's kind of a chill game for the most part. Like, it's easy enough to just chat while you're playing. I just haven't played in a while, so I need to remember how to play essentially. Oh yeah, okay, so you can throw hammers. And yeah, that's my game for tonight. So yeah, how you guys doing? What's life like? I've actually, I've briefly touched upon this, but I could probably talk about it on this channel because no one really knows much. I don't. Basically, one of the things I like about this channel, right, is I don't publicly advertise this channel like word of mouth. Like, I'll talk about it, but I won't tell people like what it actually is, and I don't really want to. And the main reason why I don't want to is because I I'm gonna eat these words one day, I'm sure. But I like the idea of being very unknown and having this platform where I can just basically say whatever I want. Feels very unencumbered. Because these days, like this is like the hot topic of. Oh, I can't cross here. This is like the hot topic of the year, pretty much. Is if you say something, and it's not entirely like societally acceptable, um, and then someone finds out about it, someone that really disagrees with you, uh, they can speak up about it, and they can basically call you out on it, take away your opportunity to do any sort of work. Not saying that the people I work with or talk to in usual life will do that. It's just out of general protection, I have to avoid any kind of thing like in my previous workplace, um, you know, I there was this clause in the contract where you're not to really like say things on social media without the consent of the company. Now, I will say I was working in TV. I think this pertained more to like the public figures, right? Your TV presenters and your producers and stuff like that. I was lowly post production support, like post production management and stuff like that. So like nothing I said really bears any sort of importance to any of the demographic. But I thought to myself, do you know what? Fine. I had a podcast at the time. It's called Donald Discussion. I still have to link it in the description, so I'll do that at some point. But yeah, I did have that podcast, and we don't always, but sometimes we kind of go into the slightly more politically, not entirely acceptable realm. I thought I may as well protect myself, so I went up to the CEO. I said, I have this podcast. He said, okay, well, what do you discuss on this podcast? I say, you know, just comic book, pop culture, movie stuff. And he was like, yeah, fine. Like, as long as you don't comment on, like, this one particular thing that I'd rather not, I'd rather withhold that information, if you don't mind. So in that regard, like, I was like, yeah, no, I'm never really gonna talk about that. Um, so for the most part, that's fine. But here, I don't wanna restrict myself, and truth be told, I don't really work there anymore. But I did mention in the previous stream that I do still do some jobs for them every now and then. Like, I've been hired to do a couple of holiday covers, and I fully expect, like, I think they said that they need me for, like, you know 2 weeks, like 5 days a week straight, which, to be honest with you, I might not be able to do. So there might yet be time for me to actually stream. We'll see. But for me, mainly, like, I don't want to. I don't want to have this channel and like, especially, like, look at the conversation I have with Lucky, for instance. Like, I really enjoy those conversations, but the main reason why I think we can have this conversation is because this channel is very small and it's not encumbered by any of those by those norms. And it gives a great sense of freedom, I'd say. A great sense of you know it what's the right way of saying it? It's comforting. I feel relieved because of it, so I can be a little bit more vocal about my actual thoughts and opinions without having to worry too much about, like, oh, what will people that I know say about this. Now, obviously, like, most YouTubers that really are serious about this sort of thing, they'll do it all the right ways, where they'll hide their face, they won't show it on camera. This is very dark, by the way, so my face is essentially just a silhouette. I can probably fix that, but not right now. Once I get out of this fight. But basically, they won't show their face on camera. They'll hide their real names. Whatever they do, they won't say exactly where they live. They'll do that effort. And I respect them for it. I just think it's a lot of effort for something that doesn't, and also, like, I don't wanna, like, not to judge anyone who does that, because obviously it's entirely within their right, and it's arguable that maybe I'm in the wrong for presenting my face so freely. But I want to keep it personal. My brand is me. That's what we're going with here. Unabashed and unashamed, as people on Reddit somewhere would say. But yeah, like, my brand is me. Like, I want to stand. I want to be able to stand behind the things that I say, and I will say, I don't always do. Sometimes I'll say something incorrectly. Right? Yeah, this happens to everyone, where, like, you try to say something, but the words don't come out right. And so you end up just kind of misrepresenting what you mean. It's annoying, but it happens. And then you kind of have to take back what you said. But I'm willing to, like, make those mistakes and say, I'm willing to take a risk and say something that is wrong. And if I found out that what I said is wrong, then I want to be able to say, hey, do you know what? I said something wrong. I take that back. I wish to rephrase it, or I wish to retract it. But I don't want to say things just because I feel like I have to say them in that particular way. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, okay, I don't wanna come across as controversial, but for instance, like, a group like, do I want to start something against groups? No. Do you know what? No, this is my channel. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Black Lives Matter does and says and perpetuates, right? I think that, but it's the easiest thing that happens usually with people who say things like that is just that they're deemed racists. And it's like, well, I can't really help you if that's what you feel. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because I'm not saying that black people are lying or whatever, and you know, their experiences of being the way they are and the like everything that they've gone through are invalid or anything. It's just that, like, you know, saying things like the police is evil and we should abolish them or defund them even. You know, I don't think that's very productive. That's I feel like that's down to me, and I think, you know, as human beings, we should be allowed to have and express those opinions, because otherwise, you know, society doesn't function in a way. I thought that's the whole point of democracy, is that, you know, we are honest about the things that we say to each other, and we are able to have this free speech so that we can keep each other in check in a way. I know that's not the actual purpose of it, but the idea of it is we can keep each other in check. If someone says something that is too extreme, no matter what the intent is, you know, like, no, okay, so this is one of those times where I said something and I kind of regret it. Intent matters to an extent, but like, there's there's validity in your goal, and there's validity in how you want to get to that goal, right? And I think, you know, rioting and looting and, you know, telling the police to go fuck themselves, or, you know, what else? God, all of it are really, you know, saying that, you know, saying those kind of things, and, you know, with the controversies surrounding, you know, one of the founders. Oh, my sword's going nuts here. You know, one of the founders who's apparently now been found to have, you know, property real estate, to benefit her family and not the actual, you know, further black community. You know, if 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 I'm immediately deemed racist for pointing that out, or for anyone to point that out just to be labeled racist, then, you know, we're basically like one-siding a narrative, which doesn't work, because, as many people know, a story has at least two sides, and I'm insistent that we regard it as such. Not that there is two sides to every story, but that there is at least two sides. Because life isn't black and white. Nor should it be. And this is why freedom of speech is so incredibly important. To me, and, you know, most people who believe that sort of thing. Which I'd like to believe is a lot of people. I can't go here. Anyway, that's my little tangent on freedom of speech, and me actually being thankful that this channel isn't that big. Now, do I want it to stay that way? Obviously not. No one ever makes videos because they want to be, like, undiscovered, like, quietly cast away, kept in the dark somewhere, you know. Never to see the light of day. Never to be, like, part of a controversy and, like, you know, being observed by Keemstar or whatever. No one does YouTube because they don't want to be famous. Like, sure, being famous, like, doesn't necessarily have to be your primary reason, and for me, it's not. Like, I like video games, and the thing is, I like playing on my own as well, but at the same time, it's like, well, streaming, there's something to it, you know? Like, if I'm playing and I could be streaming, then might I not as well just be streaming? You know? That's how I feel anyway. So, I know, like, this is the exact same argument that I had earlier this morning, to which Lucky Dutch said, well, you know, gaming for me is private time. I respect that. I think that's fair. Um, although most listeners who apparently like my gaming stuff, all of it is podcast because I just like to talk. Um, listeners of this the Ron Zlatkin podcast, or if I give it a better brand name, um, I should I revive the Razlatkin Gamer? Probably not. I should probably rebrand altogether with a new logo. But anyway, listeners of this channel, frequent followers, will know that when I um like 5 years ago, which is pretty much when I quit the YouTube thing altogether. No, wait. No, it was 6 years ago. I now realize it was 6 years ago that I quit the whole YouTube world. Because the views weren't enough, and I was frustrated. I was a frustrated, 18-year-old man. Um, and I was emotionally attaching. Um, you've been slain by. Fuck, that's not good. Respawn. That's pretty far back, but that's alright. Can walk it. Um, anyway, I was emotionally attaching the performance of my videos. Sorry, I was emotionally attaching myself to the performance of my videos, which is something you shouldn't do. Ever. Makes no sense. There's no reason for it. But it's very understandable when you think about it, because we do live in this culture. I think it has been pointed out so much, where we rely on the approval of others in a way. Like our the approval of others releases dopamine. We're addicted to that, so we need people to give us that what's the word I'm looking for? Validation. People like we seek validation from people, is what I'm getting at. And this is a boss battle, which is Toit. Okay, I'm surrounded. Anyway, so, and I think one of the last times when I had like my big rant, which was with the when drug dealing simulator was malfunction. I basically said as well, like, I had the Sims 2 videos. I think the Sims 2 videos was probably the final straw. Where basically I had like tens of thousands of views on one video, and people saying like, make a part 2, and I was like, okay. And I made a part 2, and it got like 100 views or something, and it's like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this and stuff like that. I think I taught myself to give up, which is a problem. Like, I taught myself that, if something isn't working out, just drop it. It's not worth the effort. Which is obviously bad. Anyway, that's basically like the culture I created for me, and the feelings of personal disgust, if I could call it that. So, okay, let's go here then. Yeah, that's basically where I'm coming from. It's basically so for the longest time, as I added to that as well, I couldn't play games on my own anymore. Like I genuinely, like, I just didn't want to. Um, well, no one's watching. Let me just reply to a text real quick. So, uh, anyway, when did I start playing games again? I think it was when I was in film school and I started like kind of getting into it again. Um, I kind of wore off. Like it was only like a year or so later when I got right back on the horse of playing on my own. Um,
Great battle was lost
I don't
here.
know. For some reason, I still want to try the
Darkness
streaming
is all that
thing.
is left.
I don't know. It's like it doesn't cost me really any extra effort, and I think there's validity to say that maybe like it stems from a certain loneliness, and I like I said, I like to talk. Like I could be talking to people all day with great pleasure. May I add? Like it doesn't matter what about. Politics, maybe not, but I enjoy like having conversations about everything and nothing at all. The birth of the universe and what is your favorite taste or favorite flavor of ice cream? Doesn't make a difference to me. Um, I will happily talk about it. Um,
Stand down or die.
come on, really? Anyway, um, so yeah, here I am streaming anyway. Still, last epoch, I think is a good game to stream. I see that there's not a lot of movement in chat or views, but actually, this is something I mentioned earlier this morning as well. I'm just rehashing stuff from this morning, I think. But so I have a so I have a long time subscriber called Grubs517, and I still don't know exactly, like I don't know them too well. I just know that they've been very supportive over the years. So I'm gonna use the pronoun they. Like if you wanna change it up, let me know. And honestly, like even better, like if at some point you even want to have like a chat on this channel and like talk about like what makes you tick, I'd love to, because you've been a long time supporter. Like honestly, throughout um throughout my time on YouTube, making the most boring stuff, honestly, to like making some of the stuff that I carried through, like you've had words that really like pick me up again, and I just want to say I really appreciate that. And you know I think you're one of those people where, like, I don't want to say it that way, but like no matter where I am in life, like whether I go through with YouTube or like abandon YouTube, or it works out or it doesn't work out or whatever, um I'm always gonna remember those comments you made, that made me feel like the stuff that I'm doing is actually not bad. So I appreciate that 100%. So if you ever want to like come on this channel, like have a call on Discord, we'll have a chat. Like I said, streaming, I don't know when I'm gonna do it anytime soon, but I'll work something out, I'm sure. Um, more than invited. Anyway, not the point of my story. What is the point of my story is that they commented on one of my Republic Commando videos, and they said that weirdly, there was no notification of me going live or it being uploaded, and I'm not quite sure why. I don't know what game YouTube is playing there. A little bit annoying. So is what it is. Um, it's unfortunate, and I think that's probably what's happening here as well. I will say I got 3 new subscribers this week. Three, yes.
Or die.
Um, no, sorry. What am I talking about? 4, because Grubs is one of them. Because they came from my original channel, which is Reslutkin. And then they found this channel out. I don't remember how. I think it must have been recommended. If you actually watch this back, you can let me know how you actually found this channel, because again, I'm not publicly advertising this anywhere, because I don't really want to. But having said that, so it was Grubs, and then there was a secret subscriber. For some reason, I can't see a name. Someone, I hope I got this right. Their name is Pavel. Written in Russian characters, so I may have this wrong. My Russian reading is a little bit rusty, but I believe it's Pavel. And then there is Dygos, who is from This Morning. See, I'm doing this off the top of my head. See, I'm not getting enough. I'm not getting a lot of subscribers right now, so I try to remember the names, but I can remember at least that, I got 4 new subscribers this week, which I consider a very good thing, and it is encouraging for me to continue, but it's not defining it. Like, it's not guaranteeing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not why I do it. I do it because I just wanna stream. I just wanna have fun or whatever. I think that's the only reason anyone should ever have for it. I know that some people would like to do it for, fame and stuff like that. But yeah, my honestly, like, some of my closest friends don't even know about this. I've told them that I stream on my own, and I've never actually told them that this is the channel that I do it on, and I don't send them anything. I don't know if it's like a sign of respect from them to me, like knowing that if I really wanted them to follow me, that I would just send them the link, or whether it's that they just really don't care. Regardless, I'll take it. Because honestly said, it makes no difference to me. Like, I like my closest friends. Yeah, they'll they'll whatever out of this. But like, I do understand as well that, like, I kind of make my own rules when it comes to streaming as well. Like, again, I'm trying to stream at the time where I think it's more convenient for people. You know what I mean? And you can tell that I don't really care about, like, becoming big in streaming, because this is not a big game at all. Like, I don't think all that many people know about this game. Not trying to say that I'm, like, niche and, hipster and whatever, but, like, it's a game that has great potential, but is in its early access. Not many people know about it. Not many people care about it. No one's gonna go like, ooh, last epoch, I wonder what this is about. It's more likely that, like, if you're looking on Steam and you see, like, Diablo 3, which you won't, because I think that's one of them, what's it called? Blizzard games, I think. So it's gonna be on Blizzard, but, like, say you see it on Steam, and then it says something like, oh yeah, recommended games based on this one. Oh, Last Epoch, and then you're like, oh, what's Last Epoch? That kind of thing. We'll get more of a run up. There we go. But yeah, I do have a more public podcast with a Facebook group and everything, so it's more proper. And I talk about, like, it's a little bit more safe. Not really, but it's a little bit more safe, where We talk about predominantly like pop culture stuff, like TV shows that we're watching, movies that we like, comic books, comic book figures, stuff like that. It's a little bit more safe, I'd say. Ooh, balls. Um, but that's the thing as well. Is like that's a podcast that my friends do know, and for some reason, like I don't know if this is like a weird complex, or if a lot of people have this, or if this is like a weird reflex that I shouldn't be having. But um, sometimes when I'm talking about friends that I really like value, I get weirdly protective of my opinion. Like I just don't like I don't really want to talk like if I know what their way of thinking is, if they're slightly more outspoken than I am, I will withhold my opinion. Because I don't want them to think lesser of me, even though most likely they don't even mind. It's a weird complex. I think, I like many people like for people to, like me for my, comedic values and such. And such. But like for me as a person, not for my opinions about, particular things. I think it's an awful basis for a friendship. I think as a friend, you need to be able to disagree on things, violently if necessary. Because ultimately, this is a conversation that I like to have with a lot of people. Actually, is like universal truth, right? That's like that's what everyone wants. I think everyone wants to know what the universal truth is. What is the meaning of life? Stuff like that. What is the ultimate good? What is the ultimate bad? Um what's right? What's wrong? What's good? Like, how do we quantify these things? What is truth? I think is what a lot of people want to know. And the problem is that I think a lot of people simplify the answer that they have, and decide that it's not complicated. It just do what you learned from this particular person in this particular situation, and that's all it is. Like, for instance, what is the ultimate truth for, let's say, Jewish people? All right. Now, secular Jewish people have essentially like 10 rules to life, and they're fairly simple, and they're not necessarily all right, but you follow them and you have a pretty decent life. What are the rules? Well, rule number one, like I don't remember exactly the order, but I do remember the first and foremost one. There's only one God, and that is the true God. It doesn't actually state on the tablet what the name of the true God is, because I think he wrote it first person on the tablet, and I think it's pretty well understood that that when he says "I am your true God," the only God could be anyone. But I think for Jews, it's pretty accepted that this is Jehovah, right? And not the Jehovah's Witnesses, Jehovah or whatever. Like, it's the same God essentially. But Jehovah is the Hebrew word for God, which means that I think literally it means, he who was, is, and will be. Right, simple as that. So that's rule number one. Next, rule number two. What is rule number two? I don't like respect your elders or something like that. Don't kill. Like treat treat your neighbor as you would like him to treat you. Like, very basic stuff. Essentially 10 rules. I'll after this battle, in fact, I'll look them up for you. But that's for secular Jews anyway. That's the universal truth.
Stand down or die.
But then there's Orthodox Jews, and they have like, what is it, like 613 mitzvot? Mitzvot, actually. Say it properly. All right, let's find out real quick, because this kind of counts for Christians as well. But then Christians have like, added rules depending on which branch. 10 commandments. There we go. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's not quite all of them. So I just need to open this page. It's on BBC, so trust me. Okay, they changed it to basically boil it down to the gist of it, but right. Commandment number 1: do not have any other gods. There's just the one God, and that is he who wrote the tablet, whichever one you believe in. I personally don't care. It doesn't. By the way, this doesn't negate atheism when you think about it, because it does clearly say do not have any other gods. So if you don't have a god, it's probably fine in a way. It's just that he's clearly saying, like, there is only one God. See it as you will. Obviously, like, with polytheistic views, this is kind of jumbled, so it doesn't work. 2. Oh, what? Okay, let's say that I don't remember this to be the second one, but fine. Do not make or worship idols. Very important. Oh no, sorry. Obviously. So basically, the idea of like do not make or worship idols, obviously stems from like the idol that they made when Moses was gone. Even though, but God is omniscient, so we would have known that that's happening. So it would have been like, by the way, number two, number two, number two. Think about number two, and then Moses went, "Thanks, man," and just took a shit because he knew that he wouldn't have an opportunity later. God's like, "Fine, you'll find out. It's fine." Anyway, do not make or worship idols. I think in modern society it still applies because we have this celebrity culture and we've made idols for ourselves. We said to ourselves, these people are essentially gods. Think about it. Celebrities to a lot of people are essentially gods, right? They can do no wrong in their eyes, and everything that they do is amazing, and every word that they speak is the truth. The problem is, by making these idols, in the context of this, when you make these, okay, let's reinterpret commandment number 1 before I continue. Do not have any other gods. To have one God, right, that you believe in, and to not deteriorate from that God and go to another God, is to have conviction in your faith. I think that's what it really means in a more secular way. Is basically believe what you believe in, not because there's facts or whatever, but because facts can deter from it, but something like a God, you can't prove that God is real. That is very true. That is something that you believe in, because faith in God, is either something that you like, an assumption that you make to base the rest of your life with, to find universal truth, something like that. But you have these convictions and you have to stay true to them. And that's where number 2 comes in for me. Do not make or worship idols. Is these convictions have to be yours, right? I'll tell you this. At an early age, I think I was about 12, I think I had a rather serious conversation with my parents. I have been raised Jewish, as I am Jewish ethnically and culturally, and, well, religiously is to be said, but I'm secular, so whatever. So, so they came up to me and they said, "Look, we know that there's a lot of different faiths out there, and not being in Israel, especially, like, because in Israel we were mostly in Jewish communities for the most part. You know, there's the Netherlands. I think has a large volume of agnostic people more than anyone. So they were pretty much prepared for me and my brother to like go for the agnostic faith, which I believe my brother actually did. Mm, but there's also Christianity, I guess, and there's atheism. There's Islam, but my parents would have really not been okay with that. They probably would have been over time, but I'm personally, I wouldn't have gone for that anyway. Anyway, Doesn't matter. They told me there's a lot of faiths out there, and there's a lot of options, and we don't want you to feel like you have to be Jewish. Like, whatever you believe in, that's what you'll believe in, but you don't have to believe in something just because we told you to and raised you to. That is up to you. And I'm thankful that they did at the age of 12. I'm very thankful that they did. Because what that then means is that instead of being raised Jewish all the way through, uh, after which I told them, by the way, like, this is what I know, this is what I believe in, I'll be Jewish. Whether that's because they told me that this is what it is, or because that was actually my beliefs, but they became my beliefs. And like I said, my brother became agnostic. It's not like we were a strict Jewish family. Not even close. Um, but you know, I had some experiences in my head and in my life that felt like, you know, justified a sort of belief in God. So I stuck with it. I said maybe I'm not purely of the Jewish faith, but whatever my faith is going to be based off of Judaism. So for a lack of any better term, faithfully, I am Jewish. Now, here's the thing. If you really like a celebrity and really, really like them, and like hang on their words, hang on their lips for every word, you might be inclined to believe something that they say just because they said it, right? So if they say like, "Oh, religion is racist" or whatever, you'll go, "Okay, I denounce my religion because you know they know everything and they said that." It sounds extreme, but there's a lot of people who do this. And I found myself being very compelled to that when I was younger as well, to just go like, "Oh yes, you know, feminism is the worst fucking thing." I've grown up now. Obviously, like I know that like in the core, there's nothing like that's obviously not the point here, but like you know, because the majority of stuff that you know, some of the people I talked about and the majority of stuff that I watched online very much said like this is the greatest evil. I was too young to understand that like it's not that binary. Like it's not like feminism is good, feminism is bad. There's more to it that you need to research and understand, and you can't just take someone's word for it. But if I didn't get to that kind of stage of awakening, I wouldn't have known. Not make or worship idols. Uh, Commandment number 3: do not disrespect or misuse God's name. So this one is slightly more difficult because no one really knows God's name in um like the modern society. Well, not the Hebrew God anyway. Um, the Hebrew God, and I don't say it in vain when I explain this to you. His name is Elohim, which I don't remember exactly what that translates to, but like the first part is God. I think it means like God of all, something like that. Anyway, that's like his name, and in everyday conversation in Hebrew, you can't use that name, and so that's why like in I guess like in olden times, like everything or these days as well, in very religious scenarios, you can't say his name either. So what you'll find is that when he's talked about, he'll be talked about in a pronoun that is capitalized to convey that you are definitely talking about him. And so in Hebrew, you would say hu, which means him, right? Now, trying to think of the reason why you wouldn't take the Lord's name in vain is because, after all, he's created this reality in a way, or like he set the reality up to be what it is, and he's you know done all these things because basically to insult someone who essentially is out for the best for you is disingenuous. And so by saying things like "God damn it," you know, it's basically saying like I'm not saying this now. I'm just saying it sounds like when you say like, and I'm guilty of this as well. I say that all the time. But when you say "God damn it," it sounds like God, you fucked up. Like luck has not turned my way. You fucked up. Um, do not disrespect or misuse God's name. Number 4, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. What this means to me, right, as someone who's worked a lot over time. Do you know what? Let me play a little bit again, because obviously this is really reducing. What I found is that I have a friend that I used to work with, right, and I won't say he loves to work. I think there's something about misery that attracts him, I think. But he likes to feel needed. And so at this company, um, he would do so much work. Like ridiculously loads of work. Right? And I'm worried, man, because, you know, there's a possibility he might collapse after doing like 7-day weeks. What is it, like 14, 15-hour days sometimes? Do the math. That's like, yeah, like 105 hours of work each week. I'm not even kidding. Like it comes to that sometimes, and he, you know, feels like it's necessary. And it's so easy for especially young people, like when they have everything to prove, to really go all out. What people don't always think about is that rest is almost equally important to all the work that you do. You know, how are you going to be able to do the work if you're not rested enough to function? Because, as it says in Genesis, not even God could do 7 days work a week. Right? He worked 6 days. Six days of works he did. And then he rested. Because even God has to rest for a day. You know, you think about that. What was it? Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Make sure that like on your rest day, you don't do work. You calm down. And you know, you could say things like, "Oh, I can't award myself a day off. I can't award myself rest time." But dude, if you can't, then what's the point? Oh, I have 2 guardian swords. Or just the one now. Like, if you're doing so much work just to be tired and not able to enjoy life after that, then what's the bloody point? Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Let's see, commandment number 5. If only I could prop my phone up. I can. I just need to do this and that. There we go. Number 5, honor your mother and father. Now, yes, I will say, your mother and father are human beings, and they'll mess up. But God knows they're trying, right? Like, no one said it was easy being a parent. No one said that parents know everything. Except for your parents, but they need you to believe that they know everything. Because if for a second you doubt them, that means that they are, you know, bad at being parents. That they are no longer authoritative and that you can rebel against them easier. When maybe that's not necessarily true. Anyway, they're trying. And ultimately, they are the people who brought you into this life. even if they're awful. Well, here's the thing: like a lot of people have experience with like parents who are a little bit abusive or a lot abusive. You know, I sure do. If I'm completely honest right now. Um, and it's hard to kind of make amends with that and read into this. The thing is, my dad and I, we used to not really get on, but the truth is he's trying. You know, he cares, and it's clear to me now that he cares when I'm at a distance and like doing his best, because all a parent ever wants is for their kids to be successful at whatever they want to do and do well in life. They parents don't put a kid on this earth to fail. And if they do, they really should rethink, um, the whole idea of parenthood. Now, parenthood when you don't mean to be a parent, right? Like the whole like accidental child, like teenage pregnancy, and I don't know what. Again, like this is a slightly more difficult debate because abortion and all that. Think about this. You do what's best for the child, right? If you can't take care of your child, you put them up for abortion. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very noble to put your child up for abortion. It's one of the more difficult things in the world that, people tend to dismiss that easily. Where they go like, oh, you're weak, so you have to put your child up for abortion because you can't take care of a goddamn child on your own. See, I'm doing it again. I should not use his name in vain. Anyway, you can't take care of a bloody child on your own. So, but that's, I think people don't really register how difficult it is to put a child up for adoption, like the sacrifice that needs to be made. And I do believe that it is true that, parents want the best for their kids. Because otherwise, what's the point? And if a child fails their parents, they take it badly. Because in a way, if your child fails, then it feels like you failed. When that's not necessarily the case. But like, different parents take it differently. It is what it is. Such is life. Not everything is easy and straightforward. If it was, we wouldn't be here. Is this gonna be a boss? Nope, it's a rift. Ooh, let's go. Anyway, honor your mother and father. 6. Do not commit murder. Committing murder is to end someone's life. You are not the judge of that. God is. We can't, like, as human beings, we can't make a decision to when someone's life is good to end. Right? Doesn't matter what they do. And believe you me, like, sometimes being alive is a bigger punishment than death. Now, there is a slight addendum to this. I don't believe in murder. I don't think people should ever be killed for any reason. Right? I don't think they should be killed because they're bad people. I don't think vengeance killing is justified. I don't think any of these things. However, having said that, I do believe in assisted suicide. I know. Here's the thing. Putting someone out of their misery is not easy. I'll do the item stuff later. It's basically to give you an example. I keep getting different accounts from my mom. I think she's I bet she's sure, but like I don't exactly know what it is. Anyway, as far as I understand, my mum's dad, my maternal grandfather, had um had Goering's disease, ALS, whatever you want to call it. And most people know ALS as this horrible disease where your motor functions essentially stop working. Not immediately, but gradually. Like you start losing, the ability to use the muscles in your arms and in your legs, in your waist, hips, chest, whatever. Soon enough, you won't soon enough. After a while, you're gonna have to have someone feed you because obviously you can't move your arms. And then you're gonna have to use you can't speak anymore because your lips don't move. You're forced to be connected to a breathing apparatus because you can't breathe on your own anymore because, well, your lungs aren't working. And then, eventually they'll do all that just for you to die from the disease. And at the time, he, because that's the last time he really made any decision, he said, "Don't want to go through this. Just kill me now." And I support that full-heartedly. Now, how is assisted suicide different from murder? I think assisted suicide. I don't like the word assisted suicide. I think euthanasia is a better word for it. Same word, different connotations. I think euthanasia is justified in the medical sense when a animal, including human beings, are in such severe pain and such severe suffering that they will not recover from, that they decide to go out on their own terms. What? Respawn. All the way over here, jeez. Alright. Anyway. I think that takes a lot of guts, and I think, I believe in it. I think, what my grandpa did was right. It's, having to go through all of that. I can't imagine what that's like, and especially like if you're forced to go through that because, you can't choose to just leave it all behind. Is awful, and it goes the same for animals. Like when you think like pets, if your dog is suffering, right, keeping it alive is downright cruel. Or keeping him, her alive, whatever. But tell me I'm wrong. It's downright cruel to keep them alive because they're suffering, and the only reason you keep them alive is because you can't detach from them. But they are sentient creatures. Right? They feel that pain, and you're forcing them to go through it just because you don't want to part ways with this creature you hold dear. I say creature in the most endearing term. I believe in euthanasia. I think euthanasia is different from murder. I think murder is, killing someone that still has the potential to do so much with their life. I think euthanasia is justified because you're doing this to people who, if not euthanized, are essentially condemned to a extended life of nothing but suffering. And I don't really care for it. I don't, I think at that point, I think, yeah. Let's say that I believe murder is the killing of a creature or a human being that still has more to offer to life. Now, who's the judge of like what they have to offer to life? Uh, that's a great question. Thanks, me. Or should I thank chat for being quiet as hell? Anyway, there's no one in chat. Anyway, not salty, I swear. Um, basically, um, I've lost my trail of thought. Yeah, okay, so who can decide if they still have something to contribute to life? Well, first of all, they can contribute to life if their life is not continuous suffering, because it has to come from both ways, right? They have to be able to contribute to life, but life has to be able to contribute to them. So, for instance, a baby with respiratory issues, you know, if they're able to receive, um, you know, some sort of transplant, or I don't know, that can potentially extend their life, then yeah, absolutely. If it's too late for that, you know, at that point, you may have to just put the baby, like, I hate saying it like that because it sounds harsh, but you might have to think about putting the baby down because it it will be suffering for a couple of days until eventually it dies anyway. Do you really want to put a creature through that? And there's an argument to say like, well, he's gonna die anyway, so what's the point of having that on your conscience? No, you have it on your conscience that he's still alive. You know. Um Let me think. The annoying thing about the I don't want to speak ill of anything. The frustrating thing about the commandments as they are is that nothing really contradicts this in that scenario. And I don't think anyone really thought about it at the time. So that's but every like all the rules are like a construct of their time, I suppose. So we can't really judge it too harshly for that, I suppose. I'm not cracking, you are. Anyway, oh shoot. That's big fire. Honestly, I'll probably beat this back at some point and actually write it out, like why I have a problem with this particular one. Overall, I think just don't commit murder. You walk on the street, someone disagrees with you, don't stab them. Because this is the thing, like, and I don't know why this is the commandment that I'm going like completely nuts in. I believe in do justice. Like I don't believe in frontier justice as such. I did for a short while. Because there's something very romantic about it. But I don't really do anymore. I believe in court justice. As long as it's not a mistrial. Like true court justice is yeah. I believe someone is innocent until proven guilty, but if they're proven guilty, there are consequences to committing a crime and most importantly being caught. Kidding, just don't commit a crime. More than anything, like why would you commit a crime? Like, I'd like to talk to a criminal at some point. Just go like, what did you hope to attain? What was your philosophy behind this? that kind of thing. Um, I just don't think murder is really the answer to anything. And so, murder happens. Like, well, okay, no, murder has to be premeditated, right? So, oh, they're just falling from the sky. That's weird. Suppose there's like a string of web. Anyway. Um, where am I going with this? Anyway, do not commit murder. I think if anyone ever wants to talk to me about this commandment, I'm happy to come get back to it. Because I find it very difficult to just argue with myself on that point, because I keep going back and forth. But don't commit murder. Don't kill people for any reason other than medical reasons. And honestly, like, I feel like medical reasons, you need to have a PhD to justify that. Pretty much, like a doctor makes this decision. Or the human being whose life is in question makes this decision, but you don't make that decision for them, except for your pet. In which case, like, if it's clearly suffering, then yeah, do not commit murder. Then do not commit adultery. I believe in this. You know what? I really do. I I I appreciate loyalty, but like true loyalty, not the kind of fake, like, loyalty for as long as it's convenient. Um, I appreciate like proper loyalty where it's like, when times get tough, it's you and me. Scary. Anyway, um, the thing is as well is like hmm. What's my point with this one? They get increasingly more difficult. I just personally, right, when it comes to relationships, I've always detested the idea of like having, well, not detested hard, but like I don't like having an open relationship or the idea of one, because it's the kind of thing where it's like, eh, you know, we love each other, but sex is like not really a part of it. You know, we'll have sex with each other, but we can have sex with other people because whatever. You know, sexual freedom. I don't really believe in that. I feel like I can only really have sex with someone if I really like commit to them. As childish and naive it might sound, um, the idea of like having one night stands or just having like a short-lived romance could be interesting, but like just having like a one night stand or something like that, it doesn't interest me because I feel like there needs to be some sort of like, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more to it. I think there needs to be a sort of emotional attachment to it. And if I'm, you know, I don't know. I don't like this one. I don't like to talk about it, but I do believe in it. You know, and more importantly, I understand why you would believe in it because when you commit to a human being for the rest of your life, the last thing you want to have is them like turning on you and going like, "Hey, do you know what? I found solace in another man." Because you know what it is? It's dishonest. It's like instead of talking about your problems, you're seeking the solution with someone else, even though you haven't, you know, worked out the problem from the source. And it's like, yeah, if your relationship is working, your husband or wife isn't listening to you, to the things that you're saying, you know, the genuine concerns you might have. You know, fair. Like, yeah, that happens, but you try to talk it out, they don't listen, then break it off. Don't just go like, okay, fine, and then sleep behind their back with someone else, and just kind of pretend like it's not, it's their fault for doing that, because it's not a solution. It isn't, and I don't think it ever will be. And what you're doing as well is, like, by doing that, you're just making yourself look like the bad person anyway. Man or woman. So don't commit adultery. Do not steal. Another one that I don't like to explain, but yeah, I can see that. However, what needs to be predetermined when talking about this is your definition of stealing. At which point do we consider something stealing? Because there's physical property. Like, yeah, don't steal my material stuff. There's intellectual property. Don't steal my ideas and present them as your own, especially if they're creative ideas, because I work really hard on those. And when is it fair use? You think about today's culture, like, fair use is all around it. Like, in those days, though, I think stealing was pretty clear cut. Someone owns something, it's theirs. Don't take it. It's theirs. You don't own it. They've worked hard to attain that potentially, or maybe not. Maybe they've earned it from stealing, but by stealing it from them again to have it for yourself, you're not making yourself a better man at all. You're just equating yourself. So basically, the concept of stealing is a little bit more difficult. I think, especially in this day and age, it's really hard to justify, like, what is stealing, what isn't stealing. Because I feel like it's all kind of monetary more than anything, but also material. In that regard, yeah, absolutely. Do not steal. Now, number 9. Do not tell lies. I think Jordan Peterson included this one in his book as well. 12 Rules to Life. Do not tell lies. I mean, I'm just reading this chapter now, to be honest with you. The problem with lies is that... do you know what I found out at some point? There's... At some point, I was thinking about this really hard, right? About a couple of things. And this is probably because I lied quite a bit when I was younger. And then maybe that's why when I had all these psychological problems that I did when I was at a certain age, my parents didn't immediately believe me. But the thought was as such. The best lies are oftentimes lies that are very, like, they're untraceable. Like, you tell a lie and there's really nothing to dispute that lie. And so honestly, there's only really one difference between the truth and a lie, and that's evidence. In a certain sense, like, for instance, right? I'll tell you right now, for lunch I had a cheese sandwich. And if I tell you I had the cheese sandwich, you'll go, yeah. You had the cheese sandwich, probably. Um, you know, there's no reason not to believe that for you. Uh, except that there is a reason for you not to believe that, which is that it's not true. I actually ordered home from a chicken shop. But there's no reason to believe, you know, there's no reason to not believe, sorry, that, when I say I had a cheese sandwich for lunch, there's no reason to distrust any of that. Because, what would I lie about that? And obviously, it's a very benign lie. Like, it's not going to have many consequences. No one's really going to care. But because of it as well, if I wanted to tell a bigger lie, right? Trying to think of like a good lie that I could tell people. Like basically, what if like on Monday I'll run into someone, and we'll start talking, and I'll say, dude, the craziest thing like happened to me. I witnessed no, well, this is what happened. Where this actually happened. Now I think about it. So there was this girl, in film school. And for some reason, everything she said felt like a tall tale to me. For some reason, like very little amount of words that actually came out of her mouth did I genuinely believe. Because she said like, "Oh, I worked on this film, I worked on that film with like Will Smith and Tom Hardy and whatever, and they're sweethearts, and um, this one like celebrity, through, I'll just say it. She literally said Gerard Butler. Was Gerard Butler or Russell Crowe? Sorry, it was Russell Crowe. She said threw a taco at her head. When she was working on this particular film, and I looked up this film and I saw that she was not credited, even though technically it is required that every single person who works on these films is credited. Even like if you have an Uber driver, like an Uber XL driver that literally just carries your equipment, they have to be credited. So at that point it started. So we were on the shoot, right? And she needed to be there, because we were like loading all the equipment into the van, getting ready to go to location. She was meant to be there and help out, and she wasn't there. And so basically, she eventually did come. And I'll click this. Okay, guess this is not working. Oh, I already tapped it. Cool. Anyway, she came up late and said, "Oh my god, guys, I witnessed someone jumping in the front of a train," and then she spat up, right? But she didn't really spit up. She just spat, like, like just a salivic discharge. That's all it was. Now the problem is, because of it, like there's other things as well. Like she was also one of those people who said like, "Oh, I'm gonna skydive for charity," and like people already sponsored it and everything, and then she never did it because of this and that and such and X reasons. So I don't know if this is too exposing or whatever, but like this, it's my opinion. Like, never really believed anything that she said because of these frequent like things that she said. She also, that kind of thing. The problem is, I don't know about anyone else. And I can't really say this for a lot of people, because I don't know about it. Maybe this is a rather attractive thing for me personally. If someone profusely like tells things like that sound completely unlikely, and there's no evidence to back any of that up, and and you keep saying these things that are more than likely not true. I have no reason to believe you, and therefore I will actually think that you are a lesser person. Like, I'll be honest, like someone who profusely lies, I think I think of in a bad way. And I don't want to get close to them because why would I? You know? Like it's the kind of it's the exact kind of person that, like, you know, you think you can be friends with to an extent, and then you never know if they're gonna, you know, abandon you when you need them most. I think that's incredibly unwantable in a friend. Now again, I am reading 12 Rules to Life. I've spent almost 2 years reading it because I keep reading on and off because I'm not very good at reading. Like, I tend to not really want to read, and that's a problem. And I recognize that. But this is the exact chapter that I'm reading right now, so there's probably more to it even than I'm saying right now. This is just my anecdotal thing. In any case, do not tell lies. And then, in the segment that has gone on for way too long, the final commandment: do not be envious of others. I think Jordan Peterson actually does say something about this as well. The problem with comparing yourself to others and being envious about their success is that this warps your opinion about them as human beings, but more importantly, it affects your thought of yourself, because if you keep, like, being envious of the success of others, you are actively downplaying your own achievements, when those are the only ones that should really matter to you. Ultimately, you are not them, and you shouldn't be trying to be them. You should be trying to be you, right? Now, more importantly, I think in biblical terms, I guess, so I actually like the way that it was written in the Old Testament, to be honest with you, because no, it does say do not envy thy neighbor, doesn't it? But, like,
Down or die.
I like the idea of, like, do not do upon another that you do not wish to be done upon yourself. I think that might be more accurate. I am not entirely sure. It might be just, you know, don't be envious of others. Truth is, one of the things that is also worth saying is that when you are envious of others, you are assuming that their situation is better than yours in pretty much all fronts. It isn't, right? Or it is. I don't know. But the problem is you can't assume that. You don't really know what's going on in their lives because you're not them. Maybe they had to really, like, fight for, you know, maybe they had to really fight to be where they are. You don't necessarily know that. And so it's kind of unfair to assume that, you know, they got all that stuff because, I don't know, daddy's allowance or whatever. I don't even know. Basically, do not be envious of others. And that's the 10 Commandments. Now, my original point. Jesus, okay. Having a bit of a sniffle attack. Basically, secular Jews have these 10 rules to live by, and they're not bad rules. Orthodox Jews have the mitzvot, to say it correctly. It's basically like 913 duties, essentially, right? I'll be honest, I find them a little bit archaic because some of them will say, like, you will marry, you will get... Oh, boy. Okay, this is bad. No! Anyway, I find them a bit archaic. I don't necessarily believe in them. But okay, fine. People want to believe in them. I won't say. Also, the kosher rules a bit restrictive for reasons that I don't necessarily agree with. I have my own convictions, and I stick by them. Then Christians, I think, have a few less rules than the Orthodox Jews, but more than the secular Jews. All kinds of rules about like getting into heaven and stuff like that, which is not really something I believe in. The other day, actually, to get another anecdote that just needlessly takes away from time. I was coming back home, and I was about to I was between the train and the bus, and a guy came up to me, and he gave me like this pamphlet about heaven and hell and stuff like that, and he wanted to have this conversation, and I was like, well, I kind of want to go home, but fine, if you walk with me to the bus stop, I'll have this conversation with you. And so he talked to me about Christianity as if I had no clue what Christianity is about, and he said, well, I'm a Christian, and in Christianity there's these two ideas of afterlife, like where you go to when you die. And so, one of them is heaven, one of them is hell. Heaven is like, all the good comes to you that you deserve from life. And I said, yeah, and hell is eternal damnation. He was like, okay, yeah, okay. So if you were presented in front of God, which one do you think he would send you to? And I said, well, truthfully, in my faith, I don't believe that there is these two places. I think there's just one place that we all go to. And he said, well, what about the people who do all these horrible things? And I said, well, in their minds, the things that they do aren't that horrible. They're doing it for the right reasons, in a way. Obviously, like, when you're talking about extreme evil, the subject of Hitler comes up, of course. Do you think Hitler did things for the right reasons? I think he did awful stuff. I'm not debating that, but in his mind, he thought he was doing it for the good of Germany. Are we going to fault him for that? Yes, because the stuff that he did was still abhorrent. But the reasoning wasn't like malicious or anything. And he said, but then does he deserve to go to where all the good people are? And I thought about it, Like, why should the good people go to where Hitler goes? And I thought to myself, because Hitler is stuck there, It's eternity, man. Think about that. Like, if it takes you 30 years to want to commit genocide, it's not going to take you that long out of eternity to realize that you don't want to ever do that again. That's wrong. I don't think it would. Especially considering that, think about knowing this as well. If you're evil, you go into the same place. Like, if you have a mortal enemy, think about that for a second. Think of, like, and I'm, again, like, I don't actually know what happens in the afterlife. I just, in Judaism, I think there's essentially Hades, isn't it? Like, I think what the Greeks defined as Hades, and like what the original Jewish faith regarded as their afterlife, it was basically Hades as well. And for those who don't know, Hades isn't hell. Alright? I think if you're gonna have hell in the Greek religion, it's like part of Hades. It's like the Tartarus, where all the worst people go to. Not everyone goes to the Tartarus, but Hades is basically where all the dead go to. And Elysium, which a lot of people think is like where all the good people go to, is pretty much just for the elite, for the gods, when they die. Which they do, occasionally. When it's narratively convenient. So, anyway, think about your worst enemy. Think about someone you detest, that you think is the scum of the earth. The person who you would like to kill, even though we just discussed that, you know, murder is not okay. But think about them. Think about them long and hard, and then think to yourself, when I die, and they die, we're going to the same place, and we're going to be stuck with each other for eternity. You know, if I'm the good person, then my reward is that I get to torture him for eternity. If I'm the bad person,
Finally,
then it sucks because
world
he's
needs
here
someone to save it.
to
So does mine.
to ruin my life
Turn
essentially,
time.
or the rest of my life. That was a good boss fight, by the way. That was good. I enjoyed that. Anyway, think about that, and suddenly you think to yourself, do you know what? Is it really worth it to have all this fighting, to have all this hate? Is it really worth it? Oh, the end of time. And always have water at the ready
Gods.
when you're gonna have to have a long conversation. Oh, I can stash stuff. Interesting. Can I sell stuff perchance? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. This is surreal. But yeah, like think about it. Is it really worth having all this struggle?
Who are you supposed to be? Who are you supposed to be? Try not to hurt yourself.
Greetings. This is the end of time.
I'm just reading lore. Sorry about this.
Of timelines converge. Greetings. Greetings. Farewell.
Okay.
Who are you supposed to be? Who are you supposed to be?
Oh my god. Sometimes it's a little bit flimsy with the controls and everything. Okay, before I go in there, I kind of just want to sell my stuff. If I can, somewhere. Like, activate some sort of thing. Anyway, regardless, what were you talking about? Yeah, so basically, yeah, I stand by, like, I don't know what happens in the afterlife, but I think it's good that we can have a conversation of, like, you know. And the problem is now, because of it, he's created this image in my head where I think Christianity is all about what happens after you die rather than while you're alive, which I think is true.
Take a load off.
Hello. Hello.
The voice acting in this game, by the way, is lackluster as hell. But I'm sure they'll fix it eventually. So that's another thing. So yeah, but anyway, everyone has rules that they live by. I think I have lost the original plot. What is my point is what I'm wondering. And now I need the mouse and keyboard. So basically, control to compare items. There was a point to all this, and in my ramblings, I've kind of forgotten what it was. Basically, I want a higher melee physical damage. Because that's what I'm really like dealing. I have a quiver, but I don't have a bow, so let's sell all these things that I don't need.
Take care.
No. I hate it when it does this. There we go. Right now, this chest piece is better than what I have? No. Bye-bye. This, is it better? -1 armor though, but +6 health. I'll take it. Now you can have this. Yeah, none of these mean anything to me. I'm trying to remember, what was the point of like talking about all these rules and stuff? Genuinely don't remember now. I'll probably remember soon. Selling stuff takes a bloody while. Can I work faster still? Maybe so, but I'm not, 'cause this might take a bloody while. Actually, none of these are gonna compare, I think. Oops. What's going on? That's quite cool. Oh, I was afraid I couldn't sell it. Whew. Alright. Take your shards. What's this? Health regen shard. Oh wait, this is a crafting item. Oh, I sold some crafting items. That's dumb. Okay, well. Okay, I'll get rid of this one. I'll put these in. Oh wait, I didn't have to do that. Ah, crying out loud. Sorry, I'm still so new to this game. I'll get rid of these. And I don't really want this one. Now. Mage body armor, don't really want that. Is this better? No. No. Really physical damage, but other than that, not really much. Actually, no, it's better. But it's basic, so I don't want it. This might be it. I want this now. I have this, I don't want it anymore. Yes. Mighty silver grill. Do I want that? No, I need more mana as well. Can't forget. I'm pretty set on things actually. I think I'm pretty okay. So what was the point of talking about all these rules that we adhere to in religion? I guess it doesn't matter. This is the problem. I ramble. Like a lot. Is this a problem? Maybe. I don't think it necessarily is. There we go. Alright, let's get back into battle. And then I'll remember what I want to talk about. There was a point, I'm so sure of it. I'm very sure of it, but I don't remember what it was. It's getting late as well, so I might just do one more thing and then call it quits. This is the problem with me and anecdotes as well. Like, I get so lost in them. And then I go off on this tangent about all these things, and, you know, before you know it, I've lost track of what I'm trying to say. Which is generally why you do a podcast with 2 or more people. Generally. Now, which time period this is actually? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Map. So I was in the end of time before, and now I am still in the end of time. Whoa, that's weird. So where am I right now? Wait, what is this place? It looks like... Wait, can I pinpoint myself on the map? Like, where's the Forgotten Realm on this map? Is it this? I'm not sure now. I guess I'll just have to go through it and find out. And what kind of monsters are waiting for me here? Whoa. Whoa. Suddenly everything's weird. Oh god. This is weird. Let's go. I've noticed... Okay, so basically what I'm trying to get down as well is... like stream times as well. Because, like, for instance, right now, I thought this stream was going to do... maybe a little bit better than most... But, because I thought I would be streaming for America. I suppose Saturday nights are not the best times to do a stream. I'm guessing I'm competing with quite a bit of you know, more popular streamers as well. Which is fine. But, you know, we keep testing the waters. We'll see what happens. You know, ultimately as well, like, you know, if it's later in the night and, you know, I've done everything I wanted to do and I feel like I want to sleep and, like, I don't want to sleep, sorry, and, you know, the next day is not, like, nothing really essential is going to happen, then I might just stream anyway. Like, right now I'm assuming that I'm going to sleep early because, you know, modern convention requires to be awake when you're working somewhere, but I don't have to. So we'll see. We'll see indeed. I am getting very tired though, so I think I'll probably play for a little bit more. Also, I for the life of me cannot think of what the topic was that I started on earlier. Like, there was a whole point to this. But who knows? I'll probably listen back to it at some point, and I'll try to, like, pinpoint. Oh my god! Look at all the fucking spiritual guardians. I'll pinpoint it at some point, I'm sure. So this is where I choose my class, right? Like my subclass. So basically in this game you have like a main class. And then you have a subclass. So basically, you have a sentinel class, which is like the main class, which is basically like your D&D paladin. But then within it, you have a master class, which is a subclass, in which you have a void knight, a forge guard, or a paladin. So paladin is more of the healing persuasion, the forge guard is more of the attack persuasion, the void knight is more of like, you know, the damage and stuff like that. So the question is which one I want. I personally, what's an erasing strike? Melee attack that hits the enemies in a large area in front of you. That's pretty cool. Forward strike is pretty cool. This one is healing. Do you know what? I want to go with Forge Guard. So now officially I'm a Sentinel Forge Guard. And now I'll have all these cool attacks that I can probably select and use that are all like Forge Guardy. Which is cool. I like it. It's nice to have that done as well. Anyway, I had all these things that I want to complain about as well, but like it's kind of well under the bridge now. You know, society and all that. Hello.
Who are you supposed to be? Who are you supposed to be?
Cool, so I need to talk to
Tell me
her
about yourself.
so I can just go and talk to him.
This place is peaceful. There is no future here. Greetings. Greetings.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings. Greetings.
So now so now I'm time traveling for the most part. So let's go to the Imperial era. See what we can do around there. But not actually do it. Just kind of leave it for what it is. I'm tired and I want Betty Bed. Although this looks pretty aggressive. So, you know, here we are. But I'm sure that, you know, after all is said and done, I can probably go back to the end of time and do some stuff there, even though maybe there's not all that much for me to do right now over there. Question is the thing still... Oh, oh, okay, so I have to go down there. So if I go this way instead, will I run into like a dead end? Yes. Hello. Okay, he's actually T-posing, so I feel very intimidated. Okay, well, let's get that Forge Strike. How do I actually assign the Forge Strike is my question. Um, mhm, um, so what if I hit Alt? Where's the shield? and this just exists. So is there anything here that... Okay. Okay, so I'm not quite sure. Yeah, okay. I'm mildly confused by this whole thing. So is that my Y or... Okay, I don't know. We'll figure it out next time. Anyways, if you did watch, thank you very much. I didn't think anyone will at this point because, geez, it's late. It's like midnight. So it's a game. So thank you very much for watching if you did, and welcome to my silhouette. Let's fix that real quick. Let's put me over here so I can actually sign off properly. Nope, that's really not what I meant to do. There we go. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like. Tells me that I'm doing the right thing, but regardless, I'll just keep doing what I do until I find a new game that I want to try out. And I'm not going to be swayed by views anymore. I think if people tell me that they like something, they want me to continue doing it, I'll do it. If they don't tell me, I'll just do whatever, because ultimately this is, like, now I've found this is about me and not about my achievements. I just want to play games, have fun, and all that. But if you do want to see a particular game, I don't really have a job. So if it's affordable enough, I will definitely consider it. You know, think like a small, like maybe like drug dealing simulator, like maybe something that is less than £15, but you know, something like that. Maybe a game that I already have, like, you know, just kind of pitch ideas. I'm always open for them. And if you have a topic that you want me to discuss as well, drop in the comments. You know, I want to make this, you know, a me and you kind of thing. So thank you very much. Subscribe if you enjoyed. And thanks again to Grobes517, Pavel, and Digos. Digos? Let me check that one real quick because I'm not entirely sure. Digas. Digas has subscribed. Also, no, that's it. So those are the people who have subscribed in the last month anyway. So I've got 4 new subscribers since last month. Grobes actually subscribed early April, which again, thank you. And yeah, I'll see you next time. See you guys.